Until NFL season starts, Fox 13 is the home of the Bucs' first 6 games. They kick things off against the Commanders on September 8th, then head to the Motor City to take on the Lions on the 15th. On the 22nd, they host the rebuilding Broncos and the high-flying Eagles on the 29th. When October rolls around, the Bucs hit prime time when they face the Falcons in Atlanta. Then it's another road trip to the Big Easy for a showdown with the Saints. It's a fall full of Bucs right here on Fox 13.
Speeding across a bridge, swerving through neighborhoods, it's amazing he didn't kill somebody. Today, the driver hears from a judge. And the time has come, a well-known local treehouse is getting torn down. Plus, the adorable moment, a sick little boy tells the world he's finally getting a new heart. See it next at 4.
From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 4 o'clock news.
A beachfront treehouse coming down. Why its owners are allowing it to happen after years of trying to save it.
Plus, did you hear about this? A wild high-speed chase over the Howard Franklin Bridge into South Tampa. Today, the driver faced a judge to learn his punishment. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Cato.
And I'm Linda Hurtado. Thanks so much for joining us. As far as treehouses go, this one, quite a spectacle. A local couple built it, and now they're tearing it down. And not by choice. They were ordered to do it by the city, but they fought that in court for years. Fox 13's Lloyd Sowers reports from Holmes Beach on Anna Maria Island. A city inspector told us the teardown is going as ordered. Hazen and Tran say they spent tens of thousands of dollars building the treehouse and then trying to save it in court.
All right, a high-speed chase that began on the Howard Franklin Bridge last April ended in a crash on the streets of South Tampa.
Well, 4 months later, the driver is in court to accept his fate, and Haley Hines is here to show us what happened. Haley.
Well, Chris and Linda, it was a wild chase the morning of April 29th. An FHP trooper spotted a Dodge Charger speed past him at 110 miles per hour on I-275 and started chasing it. In addition to these crimes, Robinson also got 24 months for violating his probation on the charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. But thankfully in all of this, you see, it was daylight. It could have ended a lot worse.
It really could have, Haley. And here's another story where the situation on the road could have been much worse. A woman accused of driving drunk the wrong way on 75 was in court today. Investigators say yesterday morning, Luz Munoz Banuelos was driving straight toward a construction crew on 75 South. When a state trooper tried to stop her, they say she tried to drive around the trooper, so he rammed his cruiser into the back of her car to stop her. There's the video there, the dash cam. After she was arrested, troopers say blood alcohol tests showed that she was more than twice the legal limit, over twice the legal limit. Today, a judge set her bond at $3,000. Now in Polk County, where a crash involving a school bus left one person injured. It happened around 8 this morning in the Haines City area. This was the scene from Skyfox on Highway 544 near Bannon Island Road. Now, thankfully, there were no students on board the bus at the time, but one of the drivers involved was airlifted to the hospital. No word on his or her condition.
Firefighters in St. Pete are investigating a house fire. Skyfox flew over it just before noon as smoke was coming off the roof. It happened in the 1400 block of 10th Avenue North, and as you can see, a lot of units responded because there were some propane tanks in the back. There were also 2 people inside the home and a dog. Everyone made it out safely.
Unfortunately, the house is a total loss, so the family is going to be displaced. There is a family of 4 with a dog, upcoming family, so it's going to be difficult for them.
Neighbors tell us the family is expecting a baby in the next week, and they did not have home insurance. Neighbors are now coming together to try and help the family, and no word yet on what started that fire. Overnight in Tampa, several condos were damaged in a fire that was possibly sparked by lightning. Luckily, no one was hurt. It happened at the Egypt Lake Beach Club condos on Sly Avenue. Hillsborough County Fire Rescue says the owners of a 3rd-floor unit noticed a lightning strike around 6 last night and lost electricity and internet. They went searching for a fire but didn't find anything, so they went to bed. But then the smoke alarm woke them up at 2 a.m. Smoke and flames had filled the unit. They called 911 and got out safely. 2 cats, though, are missing.
Well, across Florida now, condemned killer Lauren Cole is scheduled to be put to death by lethal injection at 6 p.m. Thursday at the Florida State Prison. But Cole's attorneys have asked the U.S. Supreme Court to halt the execution because of issues related to his Parkinson's disease. This comes after the Florida Supreme Court rejected his appeal on Friday. Now, Cole was sentenced to death row for the February 1994 murder of FSU student John Edwards in the Ocala National Forest. Death penalty opponents, though, are continuing to ask the governor to halt the execution, in part because of abuse Cole suffered as a teenager when he was being held at the state's notorious Dozier School for Boys.
Life in prison without parole in our modern penal system is a way that we can keep society safe and not take away someone's human dignity, which is what the death penalty does.
Now, if he is executed, Cole would become the first inmate to be executed in Florida since October and the 106th inmate executed since the death penalty was reinstated in 1976.
Well, city officials in Indian Rocks Beach are considering changing some of the strict rules on short-term vacation rentals. The rules were put in place last year and include things like mandatory city registration, 24/7 availability for renters, and providing one parking spot per occupant. City commissioners are now discussing loosening some of those rules. They're holding a workshop about that right now. It just started a few minutes ago. The proposed changes seem to be a direct response to 7 active lawsuits against Indian Rocks Beach, all sparked as a result of the stricter rental rules.
Are you walking or biking through the city of Tampa? Well, just know that the city is watching you and counting you. Today, the city unveiled a new tool that tracks pedestrian and bicyclist traffic. The Eco Counter display, that's what they call it, is at the corner of North Boulevard and West Cass Street. It uses camera sensors to count people as they pass by on a bike, on a scooter, or if they're walking. And it displays both the daily count and the year-to-date count. The goal here is to motivate other people to swap their cars for bikes.
First, we want to understand better the usage patterns and see how they change over time, see if they're increasing, decreasing, if there are certain events that really cause an influx of higher usage. But also, we just want to encourage people to use our active transportation network.
Yeah, Tampa currently has more than 130 miles of bicycle paths, with more on the way, like the upcoming West Riverwalk and Green Spine extensions. Okay, coming up here at 4, it is a unique nature experience in the middle of a city. We're going to take you up over Boyd Hill Nature Preserve next in today's Drone Zone.
Well, tucked off the western shore of St. Pete's Lake Maggiore is a hidden ecosystem with nature trails, campgrounds, and you might even spot some wildlife right in the middle of the city.
Probably a couple of gators, at least.
Sure.
Fox 13 photojournalist Ryan French takes us on an aerial tour of Boyd Hill Nature Preserve. There it is from above. Boyd Hill is open Tuesday through Sunday. Admission $3 for adults, $1.50 for kids ages 3 to 16, and free if you're under 3.
Boy, what a difference a day makes, because yesterday you were warning me that my commute was going to be bad. There was flooding everywhere when I left.
Yeah.
And it didn't even rain that long.
And then you look today, and we're 94 degrees outside, and I mean, there's nothing out there, but we still have some time, and we're like,
Okay.
I think your drive's going to go a lot better today.
Thank you.
So I will give you that.
There's the Jim Weber guarantee.
Exactly.
Yes.
We'll see how that works out. Well, I'll find out tomorrow. But you look outside right now, and it looks pretty nice. This is down in the Sarasota. You see some of these scattered clouds. The one thing you notice by looking at these clouds, a little flatter look to the clouds today. It's Clearwater Beach, beautiful looking view there, 88 degrees. You're seeing loads of sunshine as well. And then over downtown Tampa, you see some scattered clouds, but you also see that temperature, 94 degrees right now. Here's the visible satellite loop where you're seeing some of these scattered clouds just kind of working their way across the state. But what's really going on is something that we talked about yesterday, is that dry air where you're seeing this darker shade. That's a little bit of dry air that's kind of worked its way over the state, just enough to kind of cut back on those rain chances. It's August, so you're not going to get rid of the rain. You're just going to cut back on the amount that we see. And here it is on Sky Tower radar over in the Polk County and also stretching up into Lake County. We have some storms down to our south, and you look closely and we are starting to see that afternoon sea breeze right along the coastline. So a couple little showers popping up in and around, say, the East Lake area over towards Safety Harbor. And as that line continues to slowly progress towards the east and that East Coast breeze works its way all the way across the state, we will see some more storms. That's probably going to come probably around 6 o'clock. As we head through the next couple of hours, you'll see some of these bigger storms starting to pop up. Down to our south, you can see some of these showers kind of working their way up from the south and the east throughout Sarasota County, southern Sarasota pushing up towards north. And as that starts to meet up with some of those sea breezes, that will likely fire a few more storms. And also the same idea as you work your way to our north. You can see just a little hint of some coastal showers. So we will see some of the storms. It's just the overall coverage. It is going to be lower as we head through the rest of the afternoon. 94 degrees right now here in Tampa, but look at Wesley Chapel, 97 degrees, 90 in Newport Richey, down in the St. Petersburg, 94 degrees. Elsewhere across the state, you look over on the eastern side of the state because that wind coming in off the Atlantic, they're in the lower 90s. Tallahassee currently at 92, and because you're just not seeing much in the way of rain, you're seeing many spots with that heat index into the triple digits. Currently feels like 103 degrees right now here in Florida. So still some moisture around, giving us some of those scattered showers. Big area of high pressure continuing to bring loads of heat right through the middle of the country. In fact, we're seeing many spots into the triple digits. Places like St. Louis, 101 degrees. Back in the Kansas City, currently sitting at 96 degrees. So as we continue over the next couple of hours, some of these scattered showers working their way on towards the west coast. Things will clear out, and then we'll see another round of those storms as we go through the day tomorrow. So it's kind of that same pattern over the next several days where we're going to see the morning sun, and then we're going to get some of these storms as we head through that mid to late afternoon hours. So for tonight, partly cloudy skies after any of those storms wind down. Overnight low down to 78 degrees. Then for tomorrow, scattered clouds, mid to late afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Daytime high back up to about 93 degrees. On to water, winds are out of the east at 5 to 10 knots for tomorrow. Seas 2 feet. Moderate chop on the bays and inland waters. Low tide comes up in a little bit here at 4:46. Here's your 7-day forecast. Daytime highs in the low to mid 90s, and that rain chance holding right around 50% all the way into the weekend. Coming up, how does a burger sound? Well, we check out One Up Burger food truck coming up next.
The Fox 13 4 o'clock news is sponsored by Rubenstein Law. Injured in a car accident or slip and fall? Call Rubenstein Law, 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Also open on weekends.
We have hit the jackpot again. It is Tuesday, which means we're food trucking at Fox 13. Yeah.
Yes.
Tammy's fired up. Linda's fired up. Michael Friend is fired up.
You know why I'm fired up?
Everyone's fired up.
Elvis is here.
Elvis is in the building. Elvis is in
outside
the building. We'll get to that in a moment. I'm about to eat an alligator on TV. We'll get to that in a moment, too. We've got One Up Burger here. They are a food truck that slings together some of the most beautiful burgers you have ever seen. These are the creators, the drivers of the truck, the masterminds behind these things. This is Michael Friend and Tammy McCarthy. Thank you guys for being here.
It's nice to meet you. We're glad to be here today, too.
All right.
Thanks, Tampa Bay Food Trucks.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and have fun. And Chris, I'm going to turn the newscast over to you, by the way. I got to go run to the Hard Rock.
All right. Let me get something to drink, and we'll be right back. Oh, it's up. By the way,
so
Tampa Bay FoodTruckRally.com.
Thank you.
Happy burger.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, Charlie shows how downtown Plant City has become a haven for women-owned businesses.
And how to spot a counterfeit before you click the order button at an online retailer. All on Good Day Wednesday.
You're watching Fox 13, Tampa Bay's #1 news station.
Welcome back. I'm Chris Cato. A tragedy in Atlanta today where 2 workers were killed, a third injured after a tire reportedly exploded at a Delta Airlines facility. WSB-TV reporting that a tire on a plane exploded around 5 o'clock this morning. The airline says it's working with authorities to investigate what happened, but Delta provided few details about the incident. You know, it's not often we hear that CEOs of major companies admit that they were wrong, but in a stunning letter to Congress, Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitted that he regrets caving to White House pressure to censor content during the pandemic. He also had something to say about the Hunter Biden laptop story. Fox's Rebecca Castor has more from Washington. Well, as the summer months are winding down, millions of Americans are heading out for one more vacation, and the TSA is expecting this Labor Day holiday weekend to shatter records. Fox's Chris Foster has more. In today's Good For You, a 6-year-old boy who had been waiting for months for a donor heart is now back home and doing well after a successful heart surgery. Check out this video of when John Henry learned he was getting a new heart and got to share that news with his caregivers.
Phyllis, I'm getting a new heart. What? Oh my goodness, John Henry. You're getting a new heart, John Henry.
Oh, you're not matching the vibe today? You're not matching the vibe? You're not matching the vibe, John Henry?
Hey, I'm getting a new heart.
Yes. You still want to go on an ice cream date?
Yeah.
All right.
Does it get any better than that? I don't think it does. John Henry walking the halls there, shouting his life-changing news with his care team. He was born with a rare congenital heart condition and had been waiting 6 months for a heart transplant. But as we mentioned, the surgery went well. John Henry is back home, and he says he's now looking forward to going back to school and telling everyone that he's got a new heart. God bless him. That is awesome. Thank you to the donor family who's out there too somewhere. Coming up, making strides against breast cancer, the event that kicks off tonight. I think Linda's going to tell us about that and how you can sign up for this year's walk. And coming up on the Fox 13 5 o'clock news, flooding frustrations. Separate but simultaneous commission meetings are happening now in 2 of the hardest hit areas. The demands that residents are making and the questions they're asking after the flooding that was brought by Tropical Storm Debbie. And after sitting vacant for almost a decade, this old hospital in St. Pete is getting a second life. Its new purpose to house seniors is ahead at 5.
Take a look at this. Tattoos taken to a whole new level. And to the naked eye, they don't exist.
Normally no one's gonna see it other than the UV light.
But why?
UV ink. It's unusual.
We'll shed some UV light on a new kind of tattoo tonight at 10.
You're watching Fox 13, Tampa Bay's #1 news station.
All right, folks, it's time to build your team for the annual Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk at Raymond James Stadium in October. Yes, the cooler month of October. Linda right now is headed to the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino as we speak to MC the American Cancer Society's kickoff event. Fox 13 is proud to be a sponsor each year for the Making Strides Walk. You know, the American Cancer Society does so much in this community to provide free lodging and rides for patients to their treatment appointments. They answer calls for information. They provide resources and funding for groundbreaking research. So much is done, but it takes volunteers and donations to make it happen. And walkers, too. Here to tell us more about the Making Strides mission and how you can get involved is Bethany Lynch. She is the Associate Director of Development for the American Cancer Society. Hi, Bethany.
Hi, how are you?
Feeling pretty good here. How are you guys?
We are great. We are getting ready for an amazing evening tonight.
A lot of pink. We love it. All right. Thank you, Bethany, for telling us about the American Cancer Society and the Making Strides Walk in Tampa. Remember, it's happening Saturday, October 26th at Raymond James Stadium. Plenty of time left to sign up a team. And like Bethany said, you can be a team of one if you just want to get involved. There's free parking, family-friendly event, and you can register at makingstrideswalk.org/TampaFL. makingstrideswalk.org/TampaFL. Thanks, Bethany.
And now, Fox 13 meteorologist Jim Weber with your Sky Tower radar forecast.
Well, yesterday we were tracking some big storms were erupting across the area, and today we have some showers and some thunderstorms, but the overall coverage is a little bit lower. We're not going to see as many of these bigger storms causing as many issues as we go through later on this afternoon, heading, I think, probably right around 6 o'clock. We're going to see some of these storms right near the coastline, but you look at that True Color satellite loop, you can see that surge of some of those clouds, some of that moisture working its way across the state. Once again, here it is on Sky Tower radar, and once again, you can see those sea breezes developing just now, working its way, let's say, over into northwestern Hillsborough County. As that continues to work its way on towards the east, and that meets up with that breeze coming all the way across the state, we will see more scattered storms developing. But right now, you see just a few small storms over into, say, far eastern Hillsborough County. Over into Polk County, you're seeing some of this activity as well. Down to our south, we've been watching some showers working their way through Sarasota County, kind of working their way to the north. north, heading up towards Manatee County, up towards Bradenton. You'll probably see some of this activity as we go through the next, say, about 45 minutes. And then to our north, up into Hernando County, into Pasco County, seeing some scattered showers in that direction. Some bigger storms as you head to our north, say, north of the Villages, up towards Ocala as well, looking at some storms in that direction. But outside of the storms, yeah, these temperatures, they were really heating up. 94 degrees right now here in Tampa. Clearwater the same. Brandon, you're currently at 95 degrees. Wesley Chapel, 96 degrees. Loads of heat if you don't get those storms to help cool things down during the afternoon. And then as you head down along the southeastern coast, you're seeing those temperatures in the lower 90s. Back in Panama City, 86. And Tallahassee currently sits at 92 degrees. So some scattered storms working their way across the state. We've got a lot of moisture just kind of locked into the south of this big ridge. I was showing this yesterday. It was just kind of cleared everything out across the Ohio Valley down through the Mississippi Valley, and it's also bringing a lot of heat right through the middle of the country. You can see some of these storms now working their way through the Great Lakes, which is at least helping to cool them down. But the issue is some of these storms have been severe. 92 degrees in Des Moines, but St. Louis right now 101. Chicago currently sits at 99 degrees, so loads of heat. In fact, you see those excessive heat warnings right through the middle of the country, and they're going to be dealing with this over the next day or two as well. Now, as we go through the rest of the afternoon, we'll see some of these scattered storms kind of working their way towards the Gulf of Mexico. Things will wind down, and then we'll just kind of reset it all again for tomorrow, where we get that morning sun, partly cloudy skies midday, and then we watch more of those storms just kind of working their way across the state. So 4, 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, look for more of those scattered storms. In the tropics, we've got an area that we're going to be watching. It's not there really yet, but the computer model is really indicating that over the next several days, we may actually see something trying to develop. You watch this on the Fox model, and you've got just kind of these disturbed areas far out into the Atlantic, but little hint there. You got to watch real closely that maybe, just maybe, we start to see a little bit of formation as we head towards the latter half of the weekend. We'll keep you posted, and of course it's way out there in the Atlantic. Partly cloudy for tonight after the storms wind down. Overnight low down to 78 degrees. 7-day forecast. These daytime highs, they are in the low to mid 90s, and those rain chances bouncing back to about 50% as we go through the weekend and into next week. Chris.
Thanks, Jim. You know, just 2 years ago, the Bucs had the oldest team in the NFL, but this year, fountain of youth. They've gotten a lot younger, all of their rookie class making the team. Scott Smith, also a young whippersnapper, is joining us with a report on the Bucs as they get ready to kick off season number 48.
Crime Scene Kitchen is back. Season premiere Thursday, September 26th on Fox.
You're watching the Fox 13 4 o'clock news.
All right, this is a big day on the NFL calendar. Sad day, too, for some. Final roster cuts came down at 4 o'clock. So now we know what the Bucs are going to look like exactly in 2024. Let's go to Sports Director Scott Smith for more on that. Scott, tough decisions always at this time of year.
Yeah, certainly. Bucs head coach Todd Bowles said really the difficult decisions were deciding how many players to carry at each position. For instance, if the Bucs opted for 5 receivers, which they did instead of 6, that allowed them to keep an extra outside linebacker. So they have 6 outside linebackers instead of 5. The team also starts with 11 defensive backs, which is pretty high, but a lot of those guys are going to be contributors on special teams. So you were looking at the 2024 Bucs. The complete 53-man roster took the field for the first time this morning for some practice. It's a mix of veterans, a lot of young guys in there as well. In just 2 years, the Bucs have gone from the oldest team in the NFL to now right in the middle of the pack with just 3 players over the age of 30. And the Bucs have retained a ton of their own guys. So 44 of the 53 were either drafted by the Bucs or signed as undrafted rookies with the Buccaneers. And that includes 22 of their last 23 picks over the last 3 draft classes still with the team.
I mean, it's great to have them. That means you're drafting the right guys if they can make the team and contribute. You know, if you're drafting 44 of them and you only got about 15 of them, then that doesn't say a whole bunch. So it says a lot about the front office and the draft process, about the coaches preparing them, getting them ready to play. But you find players everywhere, whether they're free agents or whether they're draft picks. You want the best guys on your team.
The Bucs will have just one more practice before getting a 4-day break, which will be nice. Next week, it's all eyes on the opener. The Bucs kick off their 48th season against the Washington Commanders at home a week from Sunday, and everybody's excited for that. So among I don't know that there were a ton of surprises. They did keep it a couple undrafted guys. They added a receiver that kind of made some waves during training camp in Cam Johnson out of a little school called Barton College.
Okay.
So, but he's one of those guys I think is going to be a big special teams contributor. And then Tyreek Funderburk is a safety that they kept, an undrafted guy. But it's nice to see, you know, a lot of these draft classes, guys getting significant playing time. They like who I mean, some of these draft classes that Jason Light and company have put together here in recent years has been something to hang your hat on.
Done a great job. So exciting, too. The kickoff is just right around the corner. We're going to use this humidity to defeat those Commanders. They're going to melt into little puddles.
That's the game plan.
That's the plan.
They got to battle the Bucs and humidity.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
You got it.
Still ahead, how about this? A glitch got some travelers some cheap first-class intercontinental seats on a flight on a certain airline, which you see pictured on your screen. But would the airline honor that? We'll find out next. Minor correction, season 49 for the Buccaneers. There. It's corrected. All right, now some travelers scored some cheap first-class seats after a glitch on Qantas Airlines. Here's what happened. A coding error led to 300 people being able to book first-class tickets for flights between the U.S. and Australia for 85% off. Jackpot. Now, Qantas's terms of service do allow it to refund or cancel those tickets, but the airline is downgrading passengers to business class, which is still a great deal, or you can have a full refund if you don't want that great deal. For an international flight, 85% off. Why don't these glitches happen to me? Stay right there. The Fox 13 5 o'clock news starts now.